Estate Investing Profits presents Profit Masters with your host, world-renowned real estate coach and investor, Corey Boatwright. Now, strap in and get ready to learn elite wealth-building investment strategies taught by 6- and 7-figure house flipping masters as they reveal their best real estate investing profit secrets to you right now.
What is going on, people? This is Corey Boatwright. I am your host of Real Estate Investing Profit Masters and the founder of Real Estate Investing Profits. I hope you're having a phenomenal, fun, and productive day, right? If you're not being productive, you're not having fun, come on, man. You got to step up your game. You know who I have today with an interview is someone that actually has stepped up his game and the team and their company. And it's someone that I have a great deal of respect for. He comes from a mastermind group that I'm a part of that is just incredible, called Collective Genius. If you haven't checked that out, go to joinmymastermind.com and see if you're a good fit. But Tom Olson is somebody that is really, just taking it to the next level. Him and his partner, Wayne Schaefer, with Good Success Company, what they're doing right now is over 250 all kinds of flips and wholesale deals, and they do construction deals. And you're going to love this interview. Tom really goes into his why. He goes into his strategies. And I'm telling you, the guy is just solid as a rock. You're going to see how he's built the company, him and Wayne, and what they're doing right now, which is interesting on how they are diversifying a bit and taking all of the education that they've learned over years and years of investing and now sharing it with you and have an opportunity, not only through their own podcasts, which you're seeing more influential folks get into now, starting their own podcast so they can basically get out their information to help others and serve others around the country. But what Wayne and Tom are doing is they're also starting a coaching and mentoring program. And it is, I tell you what, I'm hearing some great things about their program. They always bring great value at the mastermind. And you're going to hear just a little bit of what Tom has to share today on our interview. So get ready because it is going to be good. Now, I have a question for you. Have you downloaded your Ultimate Real Estate Investing Quick Start Guide, the down and dirty Ultimate Real Estate Investing Quick Start Guide? Have you? Huh? If you haven't, text the word profit to 38470, 38470, and you'll immediately get that download. I also want to ask you another question. If you are interested in taking your business to the next level, we actually have a few application spots available right now where you can work with one of our own coaches that have done a ton of real estate transactions, okay, particularly wholesale deals. And if you haven't flipped your first contract, your first house contract, right, then I want to talk with you. Or if you have done some deals and you really just want to figure out going from like a one-man show to building a team, what that looks like, because it's kind of scary, right? Letting go of quote control. But you got to, if you're going to build up something that's greater than yourself, right, with legacy. So what I want you to do is go to realestateinvestingprofits.com/coaching application. Very simple. realestateinvestingprofits.com/coaching application. I have a few questions I'm going to ask you there, and then we'll go from there. All right, here we go, Mr. Tom Olson. Tom, are you there, my man?
I'm here.
How you doing?
Pretty good. It's not as hot as it is where you are.
Right. It's 106 yesterday. I think today's going to be 104. So, yeah, very caliente in Oklahoma.
72.
72. All right. Where are you calling in from?
Well, I'm right outside Chicago in Highland, Indiana.
Highland, Indiana. So, basically, you and I really met in the mastermind group for the Collective Genius, which many folks that come on here come from that group. It's an amazing real estate group. We just got back, obviously, from our quarterly get together in Tampa. So, and one thing that's interesting is you're working with Wayne, and I want to talk with you a little bit about what is your expertise in real estate investing, and what made you want to be involved in investing.
Well, I think my expertise is one thing, but what made me wanted to get involved with real estate, I either made the mistake or maybe it was a blessing. I read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad when I was 12 years old, and ever since then, I knew this was what I wanted to do. I knew this was the way I could create wealth. I knew this was the way that I wanted to go. I also started in construction when I was 12 years old, so that really kind of helped me on the back end operations.
Sure.
Even something we talked about, last 2 times in CG about making sure the back end operations are sound and tight. And I have a growing company. So it's different systems that it takes to run 62 rehabs that we're doing right now versus, running 2 or 3 rehabs.
Yeah,
so
let's talk about that, Tom. What area of investing are you doing? Mostly rehabs? Are you doing wholesaling? What are you doing mostly right now? Just mostly rehabs?
Well, no, we do a lot. So I'm either part owner or I own in full 4 different companies. So 3 with Wayne. Me and Wayne Schaefer are partners on Midwest Rental Solutions. We own about 100 rentals, and those are all rent to owns except for 2 of those. We really believe in the lease option rent to own strategy here in Indiana. And then we own HouseSmart, which is basically a wholesale business, wholesale buy and sell. Most of these same day double close type of transactions. We will probably do about 300 deals in HouseSmart this year.
Wow, it's a lot.
And then we just opened up Good Success. So Good Success is going to eventually kind of be the brand, the overhead umbrella of all of those 2 other companies. And we have other companies that we plan on building as well. But Good Success is more the education side and teaching people. It's not just real estate. Although real estate is the vehicle that we use in our business, but it's really more teaching about business and teaching about life and teaching about what is good success, what is the right kind of success. We're a very religious organization, and throughout the Bible, you hear, God said after the first day it was good. God said after the second day it was good. And that's really kind of where we got the name, and that's really what it's all about, is having the right kind of success. It's not about the great, almighty, having the whole world at your hands, but it's having the right kind of success. So, and then in addition to that, I also owned Olson Property Services, company I started when I was about 21 years old, and it's my construction management company now. We will rehab about 200 houses this year.
Wow.
And it's about a $5 million business all on its own that I really just run from a 2-hour meeting every week. And I have, people in place, leadership team to be able to handle that company. So that's really where my expertise comes, is from the business side of it and from the construction side. I've learned sales. My wife actually used to be a Mary Kay director, and she had a car and everything. And I actually used to go to a lot of the sales training with them, and you'd be surprised at what really good sales training you get from those type of companies.
Sure. They put in some great sales programs. My mother actually was one of the top Mary Kay salespeople. She rode the pink Cadillac.
Yeah.
And met Mary Kay and all of that. So yeah, she had some great sales training from that. Also, I'd say probably knocking doors. Knocking doors is really from the old school days. Selling Kirby's, used to knock on 100 doors a day and put on 3 demonstrations and do your best to sell 1. That was it. 100, 3, and then 1. So just the sales, what I call the rejection training, whenever you knock on the door, and how many times people would say no. It was great. It was great training. So sales will help you with, obviously everything you're involved in.
Everything is sales. That's definitely something. It doesn't matter if you're trying to train your kids, if you're trying to have a good relationship with your wife, and it's all sales. Right.
So who was one of your big influences to get involved with real estate investing besides Robert Kiyosaki?
I mean, that was probably the person I was going to talk about. Really, is that's kind of where it all started from. I've got a lot of influences now. There's a guy in Collective Genius that I really, when he speaks, I listen. Sean Terry is just amazing when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I really like listening to you, Corey, on some of the other, the visionary stuff and the big picture stuff. Jason Medley's been very inspiring for me. But, if you want to ask me what started me, what made me get into it, which made me believe I could, it was probably Robert Kiyosaki for sure.
Yeah, I remember. I appreciate you saying that too, Tom. It means a lot that that you say those things. I read Robert Kiyosaki as well, and it said 9 out of 10 businesses fail. Yep. And I knew I need to start 10 businesses, and one of them's going to succeed. I've said that many times, but it's absolute truth. It just really was an exciting aha moment for me that just kind of looked at it from a different view. I went out and started a lot of different businesses too. Man, you're hustling, right now, and I bet, but you have the operations down, which I think is the part that most people miss. Is I have an operations driven business mostly too, with guys in leadership that are handling most of the day to day, of it. And it's so important to be able to position yourself at some point on things you're good at and the things that you're not so good at, and making sure that you can run things either from afar, from remotely, or having some type of structure that where things are automated for you, tools are used, services are used. What is a breaking point that you had in your life? Did you have a point where you said enough's enough, and then you just kind of jumped into this real estate thing, or did you just kind of evolve naturally into it?
I'll definitely tell you, I evolved naturally into it. I bought my first house when I was 19. Most kids don't do that. Right. I was married when I was 20, and I basically bought a house. Took a couple of weeks right before I got married. And so most kids obviously don't do that.
Right.
My dad rented for so many years, and I saw that. And then when he learned, it was kind of like when he learned that he needed to buy instead of rent, I kind of learned it with him. And, it was kind of a weird little transition there. But when I was 15, 16 years old, I'm looking at my parents renting for all these years, and then they finally make the switch. And I'm like, that makes a lot of sense. So I was like, I'd never want to rent. And I've never rented a place myself ever. And then I bought my first rental when I was 21, and just being in construction, and that kind of led me, everything I've done in the past has always led me to where I am today. And that's what I can definitely, contribute God to that, and contribute other, things and people in my life that have contributed to that. But I mean, it's kind of funny you say that about Rich Dad Poor Dad. You felt like you wanted to create 10 businesses in order to have one succeed, where I took the exact opposite approach of that. I was like, well, how in the world do I make sure I'm the one that succeeds?
That's funny. Yeah.
And, it's kind of funny how people look at things from two different angles, and they both succeed maybe because they took the steps to do that and create the plan to make it happen. It was like, just your plan was just opposite of my plan. But I think that's kind of cool.
It's pretty cool. Yeah.
But as far as a breaking point in my life, and I don't think I've arrived. I don't think I'm anywhere close to where I want to be. Yes, I own a $5 million business. Yes, I'm part owner of a couple of other businesses that are a couple $1 million businesses. But to me, that means nothing. My big goals and my big dreams are, I feel like I'm just a drop in the bucket to where even I want to be. So if you want to talk about a breaking point or enough is enough, it was basically last year, and I probably can't contribute it to one single event, but just going to events like Collective Genius, going to events like we're part of Freedom Founders, going to other masterminds I'm a part of, it let me believe and let me think that dreaming big and having these big aspirations is okay. Sometimes you feel, or I don't know, I feel this way. I'm not sure if anybody else does. Sometimes I feel that it's selfish of me. It's too much of me to want to think that I could achieve that. And I could definitely tell you, Sean Terry said something one time that really hit me. And he's like, it's okay to want what you want, and it's okay to say that this is what I want. So I went home that day, and I'm like, okay, well, this is what I want. And it's a dream. So I've had a dream that kind of sat inside of me for like 5 or 6 years and never really got it out because I just felt like I was almost embarrassed that I had this. And so there's two things I want to do. Number one, I want to give away $1 billion. And so I've heard many people say $1 million. I'm like, that's just too easy. I mean, $1 million is so easy to get. And what, maybe when I'm at the $1 billion, I'll be like, that was so easy to do. I don't know. But right now I feel like it's way bigger than me. I know I'm going to need not just a team, but I'm going to need a team of teams to be able to train not just people to do it, but people to train people in order to make something that big happen. Yes. And then I also know I'm going to need supernatural help. I know I'm going to need God's help, and I know I'm going to need. It's not going to be all about me, and that'll make that happen. And then something else that I really want to do, and this is kind of more on the construction business side, maybe, and the house flipping is I really want to flip the city of Gary. Gary, Indiana, probably is one of the little towns that used to have a really awesome name in the 50s and 60s. You hear the Jackson 5, you have this awesome Michael Jackson grew up there, whatever. But now it's honestly, I could buy 10,000 houses for less than $10,000 a piece. It's insane. And there's not even the crime there that goes with it. It's just the city is just, it's a ghost town. There's nobody there. And it's sitting geographically located in just an awesome place for it to be. You got Lake Michigan, you're right in the crossroads of America. I really believe it can happen, but it's just something I would like to see that whole thing happen, and that whole thing just completely re-evolve into, like you see places of Chicago. Humboldt Park used to be, this war zone that you never would go into, and now it's, the yuppie little happening place of Chicago. And I think if people believe in it, and if people are willing to put the hard work into it, willing to make sure they do what they say they're going to do, and have the integrity on the back end, and have that go-give spirit, that anything is possible.
I love that, man. Big aspirations for you to be able to flip, want to flip a whole town. That's pretty killer. I think that's really cool. Because one is that you're building back up a town that's, looks like a ghost town for a while. And so the economic, advantages from that are amazing. And then plus also providing jobs and, helping folks out there. Plus the aspiration of giving away $1 billion, is huge, Tom. So, I mean, kudos to you on dreaming big and to having big goals in life.
Yeah. For all of our companies, one of our metrics is giving. So that's the most important thing. I mean, that's the why we're in business.
That's really awesome. That's killer to make an actual part of your KPI is giving. Really, really cool stuff. Did you have any challenges or a big challenge that you had to face in real estate? Either in the past here or maybe recently, and how did you get through it?
It's funny you asked that. I think right now I'm probably in one of the biggest challenges I've ever been in. It's kind of like, how do you scale? We've been growing. My construction business has been growing at 200% for the last 2 years. The businesses with Wayne that we run have been growing at 40% consistently for the last 4 or 5 years. And it's just, those are very, those are very lofty things to continue, but it's like, how do you keep that? How do you keep that pace up? How do you set boundaries around your family and not traveling too much? I'm getting invited to speak. I'm going out of town Thursday to speak in Philadelphia how do you make sure that that's right, but you do have good success? How do you still have time for your family? I live outside my comfort zone. I don't live inside it at all. It's very challenging for me to say no. Sometimes I know I need to. So, to me, it's more personal. I'm always kind of trying to personally gauge myself and know where I'm at right now. And so for me, that's probably one of the biggest challenges for me. As far as like wholesaling a house, to me, that's easy. Doing business, making money, that's the easy part. To me, it's about life, and it's about making sure that at the end of the day, you put your head on the pillow and making sure that you did what you were supposed to do that day.
So how are you doing that? How are you putting the filters in place? How are you saying no in the right times and not saying yes to every opportunity?
I just actually had this epiphany or whatever, and I had a guy mention this to me, and I thought it was a great idea. So I started doing this as far as traveling goes. I've actually heard Jason Medley say this to a certain degree too, is you've got to put boundaries on that personal stuff. on that. So that needs to kind of be the personal, that's the first, that's the big rocks, so you get those done first. But I think part of that, part of putting boundaries around. So what I did is I started making a list of these are my non-negotiables. So if it's not for my purpose, if it's not going to extend why I feel like God's put me on earth, then I'm not going to do it. Number one. Number two, I'm not going to travel more than twice a month. So if it's something that happens, I'm just not going to do more than twice a month. And then in addition to that, I forgot what I actually put down. I think it was 15, but I think I put that as 15 traveling dates a year would be the max. So that's just something that we do, something that me and my wife did. Oh man, 16, 17 years ago. We've been married for almost 19 years now. And, but we started, Tuesday night, date night. And I wanted to be a night where it wasn't everybody else wasn't out. It was just, like restaurants are a little lower on Tuesday nights than on Friday nights. So right. I've been doing Tuesday date nights for 16 years now. And tonight's Tuesday. We'll be going on a date tonight. So having boundaries like that you just say, this is what happens every time is kind of how I'm getting through that. And then also, going to masterminds, getting advice from people that have been where you're at is also what I'm doing to try to make sure that, I don't get to be 70, 80 years old and wish I didn't do what I should have done.
Right. Have those regrets. Yeah, that makes sense. So that's an interesting twist on that question for sure. Well, what's one of your profit master investing strategies, things that's really working well right now that you can share with those listening?
It's just something I don't even really do as far as the business goes, but I love lending. I love lending, understanding that the lender makes the most money per hour. And it's so much easier to shuffle around paper, which is money, than it is, I make the most of my money on wholesaling, honestly. It's so
you're more than your rehabs, more than lending, everything on wholesaling.
Way more, 300 wholesale deals a year, average profit $7,000-$10,000. It's a big money maker. We make a ton of money by acquiring right and selling quickly. So in addition to that, I think for me, it's all about adding value. And if you can add, and so one of the things that we've done lately is the active turnkey. So basically, instead of wholesaling is our core. So we've wholesaled over 1,000 houses in the last, I think, 4 years or something like that, 5 years. And so wholesaling, we have got great systems to acquire. We put in like 6,000 offers a week on properties.
Let's talk about that really quickly. What is one of your top investing strategies right now for acquiring?
It's still HUD. 50% of our houses are still off HUD.
Just right off HUD.
Honestly, yeah, we're bidding on every single property in every state that we are in every day. HUD is a daily auction.
And using a virtual assistant to go in and do the bidding?
The virtual assistant actually does the offers, but my people in my office, I can't let a VA vet those properties.
Right.
I don't do a percentage of list. I don't believe in any of that. I want somebody that understands what we're doing, looking at the properties, running all the comps. And then I've created this awesome spreadsheet. I kind of got a lot of this. I got some of it from Larry Goings, but then I added to it and I kind of perfected it for what I want to see. And so that's, it's still, like I said, it's about 50% of our business right now. It might be more at times of the year. Sometimes a year it's less.
50% of your business for what? For rehabbing? For what?
Well, for everything, because my first exit strategy for everything is wholesale. If I can wholesale it, I will sell it. I will take one in the hand before I'll take two in the bush anytime.
So what's the filter for that? So how quickly do you know if you're going to wholesale it or not?
Basically a week before closing. We basically have 3 weeks. So I got 3 weeks to wholesale it. And if I don't sell it, then okay, well, what other extra strategy can we use with this? A lot of these I just save in my own rental portfolio. If I think it fits my rental for my own rent to owns, my lease options, that they do great for us as well. If it fits there, I might put it in there. If it's
wholesale lease options or just do straight lease options?
What I'm doing is I'm keeping my lease options, I'm keeping the property, but now I'm teaching the turnkey so much that a lot of the times we're selling off some of the houses that are in our own portfolio. And I sell them at 90% of what the option price is. So if the option price is $99,000, we'll sell them for $90,000. And I actually feel like it's I think it's an awesome turnkey product as well too. Once people understand what they're actually getting on the back end, and the fact that we transfer the $3,000 when they're buying, it's $3,000 less out of their pocket, so their cash ROI is way higher than a typical turnkey.
Sure.
Plus, they get instant equity. Plus, they have a ownership-minded mentality person in their property.
Explain that, Tom, real quickly for those that maybe didn't catch it. The $3,000.
So every single person that's in our rent to owns has to pay a $3,000 option fee. Now it's just a lease and an option. It's not there. None of the money goes towards the purchase of the property.
It's just for the opportunity to be
Correct.
able to purchase the property. It's called an option consideration fee.
You got it.
And it's completely separate from the other transaction of acquiring the property.
Now, yes. Now, if they actually exercise their option, then the $3,000 will go towards their purchase.
Right. And how long do they have to exercise typically?
3 years. We start with a 3-year option. The lease is also 3 years, so they're locked in for 3 years in the lease. They have 3 years in the option. If they don't cash us out, I don't care. If somebody's been renting your property for 3 years, what do you want to do? I want to keep them in the property.
Sure. So do you have? I did a lot of these. I don't do them now, but I did them quite a few years ago, and actually was selling these on eBay, which is really crazy. I was doing lease options and auctioning the option consideration fee on eBay. Which is funny. But basically, we had a challenge when that option consideration fee was only good for 12 months, and then it would automatically extend to the next 12 months and the next 12 months. How do you handle that process right now? Do you have it just in your state, 3 years is fine, no issues, and you don't have any kind of automatic continuance?
I'm allowed to go up to 3 years. So we actually make them like 2 years and 264 days or something.
Okay. And then after it gets to that point, if they still cannot, because we sold the same house 5 or 6 times, if they still can't purchase at that point, do you charge at that point another option consideration fee? So
No, but I can't. That's the thing. I can't. Their time is up and it expires. Now so I don't. I just extend.
Okay.
But what I do, or if I feel like that the values have changed, let's just say their option is 129, and I feel like the house is worth 150 now, and they did purchase. If they purchased, well, maybe they got a better deal, but I don't care. I'm still going to put 30 grand in my pocket, probably.
Sure.
But
What we did, just to let you know, is we'd take another. We'd give an option, so we'd say we're going to do appraisal, and you're going to go. You're buying it based on the appraisal value of the property. So if the appraisal came in higher than which it normally did, then that would be their new price. Or they could put down another 3% option consideration fee, whichever one that they chose. So anyway, that was several years ago we did that, but it's interesting that you're doing those, and they were very profitable once the people.
We've honestly only had 2 people even ever cash us out.
Yeah.
So in the 5 years we've been doing this, we've done over 100 of them, and we've only had 2 people ever cash us out. Yeah. And all we've done is we haven't even raised their price to raise their option, but we can't, and you totally can. So I tell investors this because I actually teach that part of it also in the active turnkeys to say, hey, this is what I believe in, and I can help you get this done. The biggest thing I like about the lease options is the risk. It's a long-term risk factor because I want a 20-year standard stable return. And when I get a tenant that's going to move out, because you still get people that move out,
right?
And they just lose their money,
right? So you essentially use lease option as rentals, basically.
You got it.
You just give them a vesting. You give them a vested. They feel like they have a vested interest on it, and then you just extend after 3 years. And you've done 100 of them, and 2 people have only cashed you out. So essentially, 98 people are still renting there, and they're more vested.
Well, we've had turnover because you're still going to have turnover. People are still going to have life happen to them.
Right.
And when that happens, it's not a moneymaker. Don't look at this like, well, you're going to keep selling this house 5 times or whatever, and you're going to make a bunch of money. No, I just look at it as it reduces my cost for turnover. Turnover is what kills you in rentals. Now, if I know I'm getting $3,000 from that next person coming in, well, I mean, how much does it normally cost on a turnover? About $3,000.
Yeah.
So I just look at it as a net zero every time I turn over instead of a $3,000 loss.
So I think the thing to take away from this, that was fantastic, by the way, really great, is that you're using lease options as a bet for turnover to basically to limit your turnover and
Expense.
basically make a net zero on your
got it.
return. That's great. That's awesome. For your repairs, the return for your repairs. So that's awesome. That's a great strategy, and it's obviously working for you having that many that you're doing. Awesome. So
yeah, one of the biggest things that we've done, though, back to this, what are my profit strategy? I believe that a little of a lot is better than a lot of a little. So
yeah,
I am always looking to try to add value to a ton of people at once. So that's kind of what my construction company kind of helped in this active turnkey program. And I'm doing the exact same thing with fix and flippers. So there's tons of people fixing and flipping in Chicago now. And now they need boots in the ground. So my construction company has a $5,000 done for you program that says, hey, you want to buy a property? I'll help you find it. I'll get it rehab for you. I'll manage the property until close. I'll help you find a realtor. I got all that in place for you, and I can help you do that. But you're just, instead of like splitting profits with somebody, I'm just going to charge you a $5,000 fee, to make that all happen. You get to keep all the profit. And
they bring the house to you.
No, that's the cool thing. I can help them find houses. Guess what? I own a wholesale business. I tell them up front, I'm going to make money on this. I make a little bit of money already on your rehab. There's not a ton of money in rehab, and the construction side of it, 2 to 5% margins at the end of the day is really what you end up with. Right. So it's not like that's all about value. The operations side is just a value add. But having somebody, just think about it, Corey. If you went back on your very first rehab, if you would have went into that first rehab with somebody that's done, I've done 500 rehabs. If you went into that with somebody with that expertise, you probably would have ended up making money. Now, you may not have made as much money as you could have made, but your chances of making money, it just eliminates your risk a little bit. It helps that with that risk. So having that on the ground and having, somebody that's in town that can do that for you and knows the different markets, has realtor connections, has all this stuff putting together. That's what we're.
Interesting thing. In order to make that happen like that, they pay you $5,000. They're also using your team. That's important to know, right?
Yes, I won't do it unless I have to be in control of all that.
Yeah, so that's smart, Tom. Pretty smart. Okay, so what is one of your greatest lessons that you've learned that's helped you get to where you are today?
I think you reap what you sow. Understanding that whatever you give will always come back to you. Mm-hmm. I always talk about, I want to be a conduit, not a bucket. I want to be the plumbing main line in your house that comes in from the outside. Thousands and thousands of gallons goes through that every single month. But everybody wants to be the tub. Everybody wants to be that big shiny feature that everybody sees. Everybody thinks that they know everything. And at the end, and I think we do that same thing with our money sometimes and with the way we live our life. At the end of the day, we think when we're 60, 70 years old, we need to have this big pile of cash. And I just don't want to live my life that way. I want to live my life. I don't care if it's in business, if it's at home, if it's anywhere. I always want to be looking for a way to let God work through me instead of, necessarily to me. So that's definitely one thing. And again, I know I'm going to probably hit more of the personal stuff than business in your podcast than most people would, but that's definitely something. And then the second one I would say is that be kind to everybody, because everybody is having a tough time. You just don't know what that other person is going through. I actually shared a Facebook post last couple of days with a guy that his son came in from an accident, and it was a life or death type of situation. And the doctor was kind of somber. He was a little bit late getting there, and the guy was really impatient with him. And, the doctor kind of just didn't say anything. And he went in and got scrubbed up, because that's what they got to do. Got to make sure that they're clean. And then the father was really impatient with him again. And what are you doing? What are you doing? And he's like, it's okay. We'll be okay. So we got through surgery. Everything was fine with the surgery. It went really well. But at the end, the father asked a nurse, why is that guy he seemed like so rude to me. He did a good job, but he seemed so rude to me. And the nurse explained to him that doctor just left his son's funeral, and he had to leave in the middle of the funeral to come do this guy's surgery. And that was why he may have not have talked. And I think, I wonder how many times in life are we impatient with people? Do we not treat people right, or we're not kind to people, and we don't know what they're really going through? And I think that's a lesson for us all to remind ourselves, if we do know it, and if you don't know it, just understand that.
I love what you talk about being a conduit, and more biblically centered on that, being a vessel, for God to move through. It's incredibly powerful. One thing I talk about is remember, be a servant. And the concept behind that greatly has to do with the fact that, you're surrounded by servants. You're surrounded by people that served you first. I'm in front of this computer. I'm in front of this light. Someone had to create this computer so I could use it. I had the opportunity to use it, this light, that I'd be able to be here right now and see you, and being grateful to the fact that other people have done things to help out. And that really has to do with stepping outside of yourself and really thinking about the bigger picture, what's all involved right now. And as to your point, whenever you are the conduit, whenever you are the vessel, oftentimes God can use us more whenever we step outside ourselves and ask, what can I be used for right now? How can I be clay to be molded, not just coming in and wanting something just for the sake of wanting it without thinking about the bigger picture. And it's easy to do because we're wrapped in flesh, and not to go into that obviously too much, but I'm with you on that for sure. And I think it's really powerful that you have that mindset and really that direction on what you're using for your business right now, and it sounds like for your personal life too. So great lessons there. Thank you for sharing those for sure. If you had some advice that you wanted to give for new people, what would it be, Tom?
The first one I would say is think bigger. I've already talked about that. I wish I would have taken bigger risks in my 20s.
Yeah.
So that's the other thing too. When you're younger, take as much possible risk as you can. I'm super passionate about, the millennials in this age, 20 something years old, and I like a lot of their attitudes, because a lot of their attitudes are, I don't need much right now. I don't need to have everything, given to me now. I'm willing to go out and earn it first. So that's really huge to me, I think, is give first. And I guess the next one is learn to give first, and then give as much as you can. I don't think we have to wait until we're in our 50s and 60s to start giving. I think giving young, teaching your kids to give is something awesome. Don't let fear stop you, and believe you can. Those are just, belief is the most powerful thing that we hold. And I think when people start understanding that if you believe you can, you can. Whether you believe you can or can't, it's said by many different people, done many different ways, but it's so true.
Absolutely. Whether you believe you can or can't, you're both correct, right?
Yep.
So I love that. What's one of your favorite motivational quotes, business quote or other?
Sure. I love. Let me think here. I talked about, I want to be a conduit, not a bucket. I really love the statement, you make a living by what you gain, you make a life by what you give.
I love that.
And, and then another one is who will live their life thinking, God, that you live yours. That's just those kind of ones. And it's kind of funny. You just talked about something that it made me remember something that my pastor says, is that God will give more through you than he'll give to you. And, so all those kind of go together in one way, shape or form. But, those are maybe the inspirational, motivational quotes that
awesome. I
try to live by.
I love that. I know which one you're going to say here. But what book is one of your favorites that you recommend? Which one's changed your life?
I read a ton. I have a list. So I'm just going to mention them real quick, maybe not go into them too much, but obviously the Bible. Think and Grow Rich with another one of my very first books I picked up, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Go Giver. I love the go. I actually give out that book. I probably have 10 in my office right now. I give out that book all the time. Traction
impacted you so much. Yeah.
Yes. Traction is an awesome book. I love that. That gives you the whole EOS system that we run.
Wise and running on a scorecard and just kind of keeping accountability within your office, right?
I just read the Slight Edge. That's an awesome book.
Me too. I got it on audio too, by the way.
Yep,
it's very good.
Too.
Yeah. What's the difference? A little difference. Just a little difference between the guy that's a 9 and 10.
Yep, you got it.
Yeah.
The compound effect, talks about every day, the little tiny things that you do over and over and over again make a big difference.
It's a great book.
Good to Great. the 10X rule. You talked about servant leadership. The Mentor Leader is an awesome book. 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And then maybe one more too that talks about money is The Richest Man in Babylon.
Sure.
So those books are probably one of my my favorite books.
Man, just line them out there, man. Those are great. We'll have all these, by the way, on the show notes.
Cool.
We'll have links and everything to these books that people can go and grab them for you. So thanks for mentioning those. Those are great books. I've read every single one of those books besides The Mentor Leader. I wrote that one down. So I'm gonna get that one. I'm a avid reader, as you know. I read a book a week. I've been doing that for years and years, and do it from speed reading and speed listening. And it's just been incredible to be able to get some of these little nuggets of just amazing, phenomenal philosophers and leaders and motivators and just influential folks that are either in real estate or other that can just give you these nuggets of great wisdom and knowledge that you can gain. And I cannot express how important it is to be a reader, and not only just read, but also teach what you read. Teach it to someone when you're at lunch, or teach something that you learned from that book, something that resonated with you, because it'll sink into you more. The dirt of your soul and of your heart will be fertile enough for you to be able to plant something in there whenever you teach some of those things that you learn. So that's really important as well. What's one of your favorite mobile apps that you use on a business, in your business, on a daily basis?
It's funny you just mentioned Audible. Audible's one I listen to Audible probably every day.
I love Audible.
I use my Google Calendar. So that's something. I mean, Google's got tons of awesome apps. I also use Google Sheets. So we use Google Sheets in all of our businesses for everything. And I love going on my phone and being able to check anything at any given time. I'm not a super techie guy, but the Chase app for banking, if you bank with Chase, is really, you can do almost anything you need on your phone. Send wires, everything. So it's really cool to be able to have that. But I don't really have a whole lot of other, maybe I listen to Pandora, maybe some stuff like that, but I don't really have a whole lot of,
Keep it simple. Those are good.
Apps.
Those are good ones. Do you have a morning routine, Tom?
I do. These are things that always kind of go in and out of your life. Sometimes I do have a 2-year-old. I have a 9-year-old, an 8-year-old, and a 10-year-old. So with kids, sometimes these are tough. But this is what I strive to do. So I strive to wake up at 5 every morning. I strive to walk 30 minutes with my wife. We like to just walk through our subdivision.
Wait, so she wakes up with you at 5?
Yes. Oh yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, she works with me too. So, I mean, we have the same morning. We kind of have to do the same things in the morning.
Cool. I like that. Okay.
But I try to walk. I think walking is really, really good for you. It's not just about health, and it actually helps everything else in your life. In your life. So I like to listen to a book or a speaker that motivate me in the morning. Sometimes I'll just listen to Les Brown. Sometimes I'll listen to Gary Vaynerchuk. Sometimes I'll listen to a book. But I like to do that in the morning. And then after that, I got to help get kids ready for school, kind of get that whole thing going. It's something growing up, I never thought I would have that opportunity, but me and my wife do take our kids to school every morning. So it's actually kind of one of those things that, you might think it's a time suck, but it's something that you get to do every day. And it's really, I think I really enjoy that. And then me and my wife both drive to work together every day. And that's pretty cool too, because she works in our business. She's our acquisitions manager and our office manager. So that's really my morning routine for the most part.
That's awesome. Yeah. So that's great to be able to do that with your wife, getting up. And so 5 a.m. is what you strive to. Are you pretty consistent at that?
Between 5 and 5:30.
Gotcha.
If I was more disciplined, I would make it 5 every day. And there's times in my life, there's been years, like 2 or 3 years in a row, where I actually went to the gym for probably a year and a half. Every day at 5 o'clock, I'd get up and do that. But I actually really, to me, I feel much better when I walk with my wife. I think it's probably better for my heart rate, me going to the gym, but just having that walk and having that time with her is to me is very important.
That's critical. Sure. Do you get 8 hours of sleep every night?
I do now. Honestly, I didn't used to. I used to be a night owl and a morning person all in one. And now
those don't mix.
I know, but it was like I'd always have that time in the middle of the day where I just crash, so I had this peak in the morning and this peak at night. And if you got me at 2:00, it's like, watch out, that you don't want to be around Tom at 2:00 in the afternoon. But now I'm kind of changing, your body changes as you get older. And now I feel like I'm more of just the night owl. Like I was up working last night until about 11:00. But those early mornings don't really, and maybe it's just because I'm not at the gym and not, like that, but my mind doesn't stop. So it's hard to go to sleep sometimes because you just don't stop thinking.
Right. Where's the off button? Yeah. It's, for an entrepreneur, it's very difficult to find the off button. Right. I think that's just a part of the way we're wired. I think we can work on it. I think we can, but it is difficult to find that off button. Constantly new ideas, constantly, creating. And I actually think it's a gift. I think not everybody is an entrepreneur. I used to think everyone should be an entrepreneur, and I got frustrated why anybody wouldn't want to be an entrepreneur. And I realized that creating is a gift that comes from being an entrepreneur. If you think about growing up, I would think that there's times in your life when you were really young that you were entrepreneurial, that there was something there that that really stemmed, part of that gift. And as you got older, you honed in on it more and more. And at some point, you saw somebody that was doing something, or you read something, like you said, Rich Dad Poor Dad for us, and it just clicked. The fact that this is possible, that you could run your own business. You didn't have to work for somebody else. You didn't have to get up and be in that traffic that you hate, because you'd be on the road and get irritated, that talking to the boss that, that doesn't respect you, and you're only there and you only feel like a number. And I went through these different jobs, a corporate job for almost 4 years, worked my way up the ladder, and realized that, after that I got let go because the company downsized, I got a keychain, a pin, and 1 month severance pay after putting my heart into that company. And it made me realize that, that there's bigger things out there that I aspired for. And I was just at a place where I was settling. And so I think that as an entrepreneur, there's a part of you that feels like I'm settling. If there's something in your heart that is dreaming bigger for something and you want something bigger, then you should explore this entrepreneurial aspect of your life. But there's some people, quite frankly, Tom, and I know you probably met them, that you put them in that entrepreneurial position where they don't have the floor. You really don't have a floor. You get up and you eat what you kill. Then it puts them in that situation where they're just not. They don't know if they want to be there. They may want to go back and just get a steady quote paycheck,
Yeah. And I think people go through different stages of their life too. Like I'm actually going to be hiring somebody in my construction company who's been a business owner for probably 30 years, but now it's time where he probably needs that floor again. He kind of needs that, so it all goes to your, like you said, your personality and, what you can handle. But yes, I definitely think that entrepreneurship is not for everybody. I think there's only a very small percentage of people that can really handle it and can really go out and do it and be okay with failure, because you're going to have it.
That's funny. My brother had teased me on that. He's getting a little gray too, and he said I earned every single one of them. So, what are you most grateful for, Tom?
Probably my health. Something that you think we take for granted sometimes. But this is a prayer I pray every day about my health, my wife's health, my kids' health, and thank God that all that it is good. Just that's something that you can't get back.
Right.
You can't eat healthy. You can't do things that help yourself get back. But just for life itself, and just that God's given us what He's given us, and but that's probably the one. If you ask me, the one thing I'm most grateful for, it'd probably definitely be my health, because it's when you're not feeling good, it doesn't matter what else is going on,
right?
And I don't always feel good, but just to know that, or just to think at least you're healthy and not you don't have any major problems. My brother went through cancer, and having all that kind of stuff happen to people is just
health is the one thing that we all take for granted until it's too late.
Yeah.
Until it's time where the doctor says something happened or something's going on. And so health is incredibly so important. What point would you recommend hiring a coach or a mentor? How important has that been to your success personally, Tom?
I'd say as soon as possible. No, but I mean, I guess that's a short, vague answer. But really, I really highly recommend a lot of reading. So I'm going to kind of take this the opposite way. Yes, I do believe in coaches. I believe in mentoring, but I think a lot of us think, oh, it's going to be a waste of my time. It's going to be a waste of money. It's going to be a waste of whatever.
Right.
But the way I look at it is, hey, well, if I'm doing all the other stuff that I know I can do myself, like reading and like learning and constantly trying to make better yourself and having self-awareness of where you're at today, I think it'll eliminate some of the wasted time that we feel we have with a coach. I mean, I know you've been a coach for many years, and I would bet if a lot of the guys were just to read those books that we talked about and to just dive into them, you wouldn't have to teach them all this stuff that you got to teach them. You could just really get into their real quick issues and their little things that you can just kind of see as a coach on how to help them.
Right.
And I see that so much with my coaching students. I'm like, man, if you would have just read the book I told you to read 2 times ago, we wouldn't be talking about this right now.
Right.
And I feel like, so it's like, so yes, I believe in hiring coaches. I believe in having mentors. I believe in all that stuff. But I think if you find out why you do what you do, it'll be so much easier to go into those sessions. And not only that, I think you'll get more value. The higher you get up that rung of the really important big picture stuff in those sessions, the more valuable that's going to be. So because I think it's hard. I mean, especially people just starting out, it's hard for them to think, well, paying $10,000, $20,000 for a coach is going to be worth it. Now, somebody that's making $1 million to pay $10,000, oh, it's worth it all day long. If they can just tweak the slight edge, a little way they speak in front of people, it's worth $10,000. Right. So, getting to that point as quickly as possible by everything else that you can do on your own, I think is so important. And just like I mentioned, my big goals, I want to give away a ton of money, and I want to, give to a city that's been decimated, and I want to bring that city back to life. I feel everyone should have a purpose. And for me, that's my purpose. But I think that we all need to be looking, to help others every single day. And I think a lot of that we have to help ourselves first before we can help others. And I think being self-aware first, I think that'll actually help you get a coach quicker as well, too, if you really know, well, this is where I need help. That's just my recommendation on hiring a coach. Know what you need first before you go in there, and try to find a coach that might have the opposite strengths that you might have. You might have a really good strength in an operations, but you don't have a great strength in sales. So find a coach that's, known for helping you with sales. You may be really good in day to day, but you don't really have the big why figured out. You will go find somebody like Corey that understands how to help you find a why. You know what I'm saying? So that's maybe I went into that farther than what you want, but that's kind of like that. That's what I recommend.
I like that a lot. In one book, you give out the Go Giver book. One book that my students all read is The War of Art, not The Art of War. It's The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. Have you read that book, Tom?
I have. It's awesome.
It's an incredible book because I think it gets you in touch with the thing that everyone deals with at some point in their lives. And it really, as you identify that thing, then it gives you almost permission in a way to be able to, everyone deals with this thing, then mine is unique to me. The things I'm going through, in my life. And although it's unique to me, other people have dealt with it, right? So it's unique to me from my situation, things I'm going through personally, but other people have dealt with something similar or something in the same ballpark. And I think that whenever you recognize, the resistance of that, then it's really powerful. It empowers you to be able to say, how can I fix it? And which I loved what your comment is about just reading. It gives you an idea of these tools that you have. And now when you come in working with you, you can just simply really grab that tool from their tool shed and be able to say, this is the one we're going to use right now on this particular area of your life. This one's what we're going to use on this particular area of your business because you read this book. Now the mindset is there, and now you come in and just kind of tweak it and hone it a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, that also brings me to another book too, is The One Thing too. That really says, okay, this is the one thing I need help with right now that's going to tip over a lot of other things in my life. The one domino that might, change 20 other things. So, but yeah, those are, that's how I view that, the whole coaching thing. Cause like I said, I do believe in it, but at the same time, even as a coach, I don't want to be a waste.
Right.
There's sometimes you end up with a coaching session and you're just like, man, I just feel like I wasted my time with that guy because, he didn't do what I asked him to do, and it's just, to me, I hate taking people's money. I really do. It's just, I don't want your money. I want to help you.
I love that. Yeah. So if you had to summarize it, why do you do what you do?
I believe God's put me on this earth. Like I mentioned, I mentioned God put me on this earth because he wants me to help others. I mean, really, that's the biggest thing for me. My statement of my construction management company is I want to provide services that add value to others. That's what matters to me. I don't want to matter as in like, well, Tom Olson matters, but at the end of my life, I want to, like my other statement that I said today, I want people thanking God that I lived my life. And I want, I talked about my big goals, and that's really, every day I think about those. And every day I try to figure what can I do today to push myself one step closer to that goal. And, I feel like everybody ought to have a purpose and a mission. And for me, that's what mine is looking every day to help somebody today. And, maybe that's not what you asked for, but that's really how I think about why I do what I do is it's all because of a bigger purpose, and it's all to matter at the end of my life, and it's all to give as much as I can give.
Love it, man. Well, what's the best way that we can get in touch with you? How can we contact you? Would love to be able to serve you, Tom. What can we do to help you?
Awesome. So the construction company is Olson Property Services. So it's pretty easy. Olson, which is OLSON, propertyservices.com is the website for that. The active turnkey, where I help people buy, rent, I help them buy, rehab, rent, refi, repeat. That whole Kiyosaki real model there is activeturnkey.com. And then, I'll just give away one of my email addresses, MLS. So Mary, Larry, Sam, Bidder, BIDDER @gmail.com. And if you want to get a hold of me that way, that'd be just fine as well.
MLS Bidder.
MLS Bidder. I couldn't believe it wasn't taken.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Tom. This has been incredible. I'm going to make sure we get all the show notes. There's a lot of great resources that you shared. So thank you for taking the time to be on here. And I'm looking forward to also, we do have a podcast. If you want to talk about that, go ahead.
Yeah, so we actually have a podcast called Good Success. We just started it like 2 or 3 weeks ago. So I'm not sure how quick this is going to get out to your viewership, but if it does get out quickly, I would love for you guys to visit it, download it, write reviews. We are trying to get on News and Noteworthy. We haven't made it quite yet, although our activity is the same as others, and I think it's some artwork and stuff we need to work on maybe, but we're right there, I think close. We'd really like to get on the News and Noteworthy for that. But Good Success, we actually talk about 3 things every single week. So we have a Tuesday podcast where we talked about active turnkeys and talked about owning rentals. We have a Friday podcast, which is a book review. So we do a book review every Friday, and I think that's awesome.
Wow.
How really summarizes, a whole book in half an hour. I think it's really cool. And then we talk about good success and having a successful Saturday is what we do on Saturdays. And that just talks about our why, how to have success. A lot of the stuff we talked about today, even, we talk about on those Saturday podcasts.
You're really going at it, man. And it's obvious that you want to help, and you always want to get that information out there that can help people. One person on podcasting that is particularly fantastic at with the track record, and he kind of helped other people launch was John Lee Dumas. So if you had an opportunity to look at John Lee Dumas material, he actually lays out everything on how to get your best news and noteworthy stats and not SEO, but really create the big buzz and get a lot of downloads on your news and noteworthy. He gives you some specific things using Libsyn, using different keywords and how he's using those keywords, where he uses the headlines, and some other things like that. So something to definitely check out. And also on reviews, on where he's getting the reviews and when to launch all of that. So when to actually submit it to iTunes and have the time frame. There's a period of days that you have, and then you get a bunch of reviews. So he has some particular ways on doing that you might check out.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. I wrote that down. And then I kind of actually, talking about the podcast, another place to reach us is goodsuccessacademy.com.
Good Success Academy.
Yeah, Good Success Academy. We just actually did our first belief retreat last week. And basically it's kind of like showing other people how we do what we do. And so I thought it was awesome. We had people here that, loved the event. But we're planning on another one soon, and the Good Success Academy would be another place you can check us out.
I'm checking out the website right now. Cool. All right. Well, I appreciate it very, very much. Looks like you got a video on there. So I appreciate it very, very much taking the time to be on here, Tom. Remember, be a servant just like Tom here, and we'll be on our next Profit Master podcast series. Thanks. Talk to you later, Todd.
Thanks, Corey. Have a great day.
Bye, Tom.
Bye.
Hi, this is Corey Boatwright, and I have a quick question for you. What is the fastest way to reach your goals? Is it to work harder, work smarter, use system and processes, or hire rock star employees? What about just making more money? Actually, it's none of that. Those things are a byproduct of the one success component that every real estate investor or business owner that I know all have in common. And the answer is clarity. Complete laser focus on what you want, why you want it, and what are you willing to do to get it. So where do you find clarity? By hiring a coach and mentor. Now, could you reach the level of success that you want to achieve by doing this all on your own? The Lone Ranger. Well, maybe, but do you think it would take you double or even triple the time to achieve it compared to hiring a coach and mentor to help guide your path, provide proven instruction with a tailored blueprint that you could follow for building a real estate business that supports your lifestyle and helps you reach your financial and personal goals? Absolutely. Here's the fact. Time isn't recyclable. So I would like to ask you to make good use of it and extend a personal invitation for you to book a phone coaching strategy session by going to callwithcorey.com. That's callwithcorey, Corey spelled CORY.com. I'm going to ask you a few quick questions on that page, and we're going to go over and see how we can make sure that your business is on path to reach the goals that you want this year. So go to callwithcorey.com, that's CORY, and book your phone coaching strategy session today. Remember, be a servant, and I'll see you on there.
You've been listening to another Real Estate Investing Profits Master podcast series. To receive your free real estate book, Down and Dirty, Ultimate Real Estate Investing Quick Start Guide, how to quit your job to start flipping houses in 90 days or less, head online and go to realestateinvestingprofits.com. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/Real Estate Investing Profits. Thanks again for listening, and stay tuned for our next episode.